Are you tired of being a drab teacher? Are your students bored to tears? Are you looking for that one book that is going to transform your classroom? Then look no further than Tom Newkirk. Many teachers today suffer from unengaged students, bad behavior, poor conversations, and a false understanding of narrative. You're in luck! Tom Newkirk has written a revolutionary text that will transform your classroom forever. You'll stay with Tom Newkirk as you learn how to enliven informational text and writing through narrative. Say goodbye to the hamburger forever. Just listen to what these enlightened educators have to say about the power of minds made for stories. My students used to cringe at the mention of math, and any time a number was written on the board, I would hear audible groans. Since reading Minds Made for Stories, our math world has been turned upside down. Instead of long lists of numbers, data sets have become dramatic stories, and algebra is filled with meaningful metaphors that elicit the discovery of equations used by the number machine. Minds Made for Stories has taken my math classroom from drab to fab.
After I read Newkirk's book, I realized that my textbooks were full of sin. 7 sins, to be precise. No wonder teachers were sending my books back full of drool and snot. They were a complete snore. Thanks to Mind Made for Stories, I now write my textbooks in an interesting and surprising way. I can include shifts in mood, register, and level of seriousness. I use metaphor and analogy like a pro. I'm writing textbooks that even I want to read. Now I have a toolbox that transformed my textbooks from drab to fab.
As a social studies teacher, Minds Made for Stories has allowed me to see the narrative behind historical documents. My students now look for the story as much as the argument made in famous speeches like Lincoln's Gettysburg Address or Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream. We've also found the narrative behind the Declaration of Independence. Thanks to Tom Newkirk's Minds Made for Stories, my social studies classroom has gone from drab to fab.
Before I read Newkirk's book, my students felt like literary analysis was the worst game of hide-and-seek ever, where they had to find the meaning an author had hidden in a text. Now that I've reframed our analysis as making meaning, my students are drawing personal connections to the text that promote meaningful analysis. Thanks to Tom Newkirk's Minds Made for Stories, my classroom has gone from drab to fab.
Before, when I would lecture about the process of corn sex, my students were just not into it. After reading Minds Made for Stories, the sexy narrative of corn sex has really fired up my students' imaginations. We've taken corn sex to a whole new level. In my classroom, thanks to Tom Newkirk's Minds Made for Stories, my classroom has gone from drab to fab. Order today at www.HEINMANN.com or 1-800-NEWKIRK for your copy today. But wait, there's more. If you order in the next 30 seconds, we'll throw in Bruce Novak's Opening of the American Heart. Show Me Your Soul for an additional $52.50. Guaranteed to enlighten your narrative of your soul.